Hey there, welcome to the Blue Sky Sanctuary. That's my home and property in the Baja in Mexico, where I've been living off-grid since 2022, and I am out here really early this morning. It's about 6:30 to share with you the biggest mistakes that I've made living off-grid, setting up this property, and I'm going to jump right into it before it gets insanely hot out here. Starting with the first mistake, the biggest one, the most unchangeable one, which has everything to do with the slope of the property. So we're going to go down to the south end of the property so I can show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so we're down at the bottom of the property, and as you can probably tell behind me, it slopes up. And if you're going off grid, a sloped property is ideal because you want to be able to gravity feed things. So the cistern that holds all the water is up at the top of the property and can gravity feed down the property. The septic is down here in the corner, so all of the waste gets gravity fed down to the septic, which is great. But what I did wrong was had the property slope the wrong way when it comes to considering the strength of the sun and keeping the house cool in the summer. So you can see the house behind me. The sun is strongest, of course, when it's kind of moving through the south piece of the sky in the summer here, and it just hammers the side and also the top of the house. So had I flipped this whole thing and the entire property was slanted the other way, then the house would be more kind of shadowed by the land itself, and it would have been a lot easier to shade the house and keep it cool. I drew an image of this to share with you here on screen to make it really clear what I'm talking about. Basically, as you probably know, the sun is the highest in the sky in the summer, which means planting trees to shade the house is kind of hard to do. You need them so tall to reach above the house, which my neighbors have. They have some palm trees that are way above the house, but I can tell just from the sparseness of them, they're not going to really provide a whole lot of shade. What you need, in my opinion, is to either have the house into the earth a bit more and shaded by the earth itself, or with shade cloths, and considering where the sun is at which season. So that actually takes us into my mistake number 2. We're going to go back up to property for me to share that with you, and it's got to do with the most commonly asked question on the trip. Oh, the insects are waking up. Okay, so that basically takes us into my second biggest mistake. We're going to go back up to property so that I can show you what I'm talking about, and it will also answer one of the most commonly asked questions I get on the channel, which is, why don't you plant more trees to shade the house? I'm going to take you up there and show you why. Okay, let's go. So when I do this again, I will definitely look for a property that slopes in the opposite direction. So the high side of the property will be the south end, and the low side of the property will be the north end. And jumping right into mistake number 2, which is right here, basically answering your most commonly asked question, why don't I plant more trees? The best place to plant trees for the house to protect it from the summer sun is on the east side, where I'm standing right now. So we've put up this temporary shade cloth to protect the house from the rising sun, which is already super strong. I am already sweating, and it's like 7 in the morning. But as you can maybe see behind me here, there's not a whole lot of space to plant trees. This is the driveway, and it would just be a bit of a tight squeeze to, put a bunch of trees in here. It just doesn't really energetically and technically work for me in my mind. I am selling this property, so the next owner can make that decision. But what I would do differently in the future is just put the house decidedly more to the front of the property to give more space if, say, the driveway was going to be behind as it is here. And then there would be enough space to plant trees where you're not having to deke around them when you get out of the vehicle, or when you're driving up and down the driveway, or when big trucks are coming in and out here, which they do, delivering gravel, delivering sand and cinder blocks and all of that. That's also why I didn't plant trees sooner, to answer your question. Construction is super messy, and cement is everywhere. I still have it all over the rocks around the property, and if I had planted trees sooner while the house was being built, or even before the house was built, those trees would have been really damaged in the process. So it's one of the reasons that I just held off and allowed the house to get built without me trying to cultivate nature, 1 meter away from the build site. So that's mistake number 2, is just not having the house in the best position to accommodate trees. Also, again, with the property sloping down towards the south side, to plant trees on the south side of the house, they will have to be so tall to shade it from the summer sun. And I don't need the house shaded from the winter sun. The winter sun heats up the house in the day perfectly, so it's nice and cozy warm in there at night when it goes down to brisk, 10, 15 degrees here in Mexico. So that's perfect. You just want the trees to be shading the house in the summer, but the sun is so high in the sky in the summer that it's next to impossible to do. So the last mistake I'm going to share with you, or kind of the thing that I would most do differently on my next project, would be to not put the solar panels on the roof and instead put something over the roof to shade it in the summer. As I was saying earlier, the summer sun is so high in the sky that it's heating the house through the roof. And so what I'd love to do with the solar panels next time is have them on something that's movable so that they can rotate. And so right now the sun is super strong in the eastern part of the sky, but the panels are facing more, southwest. And so they're not collecting as much energy as they would if I could just rotate this whole thing and point them towards the sun. I think that would be incredible. I know it's going to take some really strong engineering and technical knowledge. I'm going to get someone to do it for me. Of course, it's not something I'm going to try to do myself. But having them on the roof might not be the best option, because ultimately, I think to have the option to cover the roof and protect it from the summer sun would be better. So that brings us to the end of another video. I hope that the information I've shared is going to be helpful to you. If you are in the process of creating something off-grid, or you're thinking about it, even better, because this is information that would be really useful before you start the project, as it would have been for me. But I am learning through my experiences, and I'm sharing what I'm learning with you along the way. If you have any questions or any experiences you want to share, please put them in the comments. If you would like coaching or consulting, my email address is in the description. You know where to find me. And I think that's it for today. Thanks for tuning in, and I will see you again soon. Bye for now.